So hello everyone and welcome to this video. So the devs have introduced a new game mode which is called Duels, in which you face one other player 1v1. So in this game mode both players start with 6,000 points, and whoever manages to leave their opponent without any points wins the game. In the first four rounds, the difference in points between the two players is subtracted from the total of the player who loses. Then in round 5, it's called a healing round, in which the points that both players get are added onto the total tally. And after that, there is a double damage round, then a quad damage round, an 8 times damage round, and so on. I must also mention that there's no time limit in duels. You just have to guess maximum 15 seconds later than your opponent. This is actually good news because it means that the game will not last forever. This is completely different from anything I've seen lately, so I'm really excited for it, so let's see how this goes. So first of all, I'm in an already quite high ranking in the Metropolitan Division Tier 3, so it's by no means gonna be a couple of easy games. So I'm playing against Gen 5 camera. I would be really pleased if that ever existed. So what is this? This seems to be Baltic maybe. With these poles I'm not sure though. This is weird. But my opponent hasn't guessed yet. First thought is Estonia because it looks quite modern. At least the housing does. It might be Lithuania though. I'm still gonna go Estonia. There might be a green blur over here. I'm not really sure. But yeah, it was Estonia, and my opponent went in Slovenia, which cost him over 2,700 points. So we are in a good position right now. Okay, this is obviously Chile because we have American signs and white lines. And with this vegetation, it looks like it's north of Santiago because it's dry, but it's not that north because we still have a lot of trees, even some pines over there. He already guessed, so I'm gonna guess there. And that was pretty close. And that gives me like another 1,300 points over my opponent. This one I don't like because it's the US. With these signs, it can be Canada. But with the blue street signs and this license plate, I'm starting to think either Iowa or Minnesota. But here there are New York plates. It's kind of confusing. Maybe it is actually Canada, but I don't think it is. I'm not 100% sure yet. It could be Ontario. I think I'm gonna go for it. I can't see this being Minnesota with the yellow plates. Maybe this meta is not correct, the one-way signs and the do not enter ones. But actually it was in the US, in New York. I don't know what that plate was, maybe a traveler. But I still got more than my opponent, so I'm not gonna complain about that. Okay, here we have either German, Luxembourgish or Swiss boards, but it's not Switzerland because it's no locum, although it might seem like it. And with this forest, I'm not really sure because it could be both. But I think it's safer to go Luxembourg because it has more locations in most maps. So that's what I'm gonna do. It still can be Germany, of course. But yeah, it was Luxembourg, although my opponent was closer. But it's only 43 points, so it's nothing to worry about. Now there's a healing round, which means that my opponent can get his points back. Even if he guesses far away, he's still gonna win points. And this is the UK, obviously. We have white front plates, but I don't think this could be Ireland with the red brick, especially. With these roofs, I'm thinking more southern. Although I want to look here if there's any clues. I can't. That says India, I think, so it's not helpful. There's some red brick though, but I'm gonna go southern. I'm gonna go somewhere over here. Especially because of these white buildings with terracotta roofs. But actually we were in the East Midlands. And my opponent got all his points back. And we are back to the beginning. Now there's gonna be a double damage round, so it's really important to win this. And first of all, I don't know where this is. Maybe that's a double blue, so it could be Italy. But this is something that looks like a French pole, although I haven't countered it in Italy before. So I want to look a bit more. That pole looks more like France somehow. But this doesn't look like France at all. I don't know. Could this be something different? There's no antenna, so I'm gonna go for Italy. Somewhere over here, just because how the landscape looks. There's a lot of like limestone formations, like you could see the rocks of Malta or something like that. But no, it was actually in Palma, which makes sense. I should have thought about it, but I was closer than my opponent, so I'm not gonna complain too much, although it does hurt a bit, being from Spain. Here we have this pole. We have Gem 4 coverage, and this looks a bit Eastern European. Actually, these one-story houses with quite sharp roofs, they are usually Hungarian, and here it says Utka, which is street in Hungarian, and the pole obviously fits, the holy pole. And as it looks a bit Pannonian and completely flat, I'm gonna go a bit more south, not in Budapest. But it was more north, and I think my opponent. No, I actually got a bit more, but that's negligible. Maybe this round is gonna be important because like the who loses the round is gonna lose the difference multiplied by 8. Here it says RC, so if you're watching, welcome to the video, RC. I don't know where this is though. It is Italy, obviously. Looks southern. Reggio Calabria. Okay, that makes sense. It's down here. This looked southern from the real start. Also, we even have a banana tree here. Interesting. I'm gonna go in one of the highways around the city. Let's hope that my opponent doesn't go too close. He doesn't find where the city is. And that was correct. He went more north. Although, yeah, and this is enough to win the game, so I guess that when the damage is more than 8 or 16, even 4 sometimes, if the opponent doesn't get the country, it should be enough to win or lose the game. So it's not gonna take too long. So I'm hoping for a bit better opponent right now. Okay, it's Welts, and he doesn't look really experienced because he doesn't have a profile pic, but that doesn't have to mean anything necessarily. There are yellow plates here at the back, but not at the front, so we are probably in the UK. This looks like an Anglican church too. This looks like some university building or something, but it might be something completely different. And by how this looks, I'm thinking more northern. I don't know the area codes, but this might be like something like Birmingham because of these tall buildings, but they could be council estates anywhere in the country. Well, actually, there's a mountain up north, so I'm gonna go somewhere even more north than that. Maybe like Sheffield is a good idea. This looks pretty industrial, at least over here with the railway. So let's see where my opponent goes. Probably he will get the UK. Well, he doesn't. He goes for the United States, South Dakota. And that gives me a 4,000 lead. I didn't see where it was, but I think it was a bit more north than where I guessed. What do we have here? We have this antenna that you see in Puerto Rico, Guam, or the Northern Mariana Islands. We have a front plate, so it's not Puerto Rico. I was also not thinking that it was just because of the architecture. But this looks pretty developed and not buildings all over the place that you see in Northern Mariana. So I'm gonna go in Guam here. Maybe Northern because it looks less populated. Maybe something like this. There is the beach over there, so this would make some sense. Let's see if we can win this game before the healing round. That would be something that I would be proud of. My opponent didn't even guess, and it was the Northern Mariana Islands. I got that wrong, but it was still enough to win because my opponent didn't guess. I'm hoping for someone who is more experienced or at least tries a bit more next time. So let's see if that happens now. Our opponent is Bourichon. He might be French, although that is never to be confirmed. And this straight off looks like Japan. And I think my opponent will get this. This is generic modern architecture, so I don't know. This could be anywhere. But this is definitely an urban area, so maybe the best thing to do is to guess Osaka, although it might be Tokyo. And if it is Tokyo and he guesses it, we might be in a problem. Also, that moving is allowed in this round, so he can get any clues, but it was in the middle, it was in Hamamatsu, and he did guess Tokyo, but I think I was 50 points closer. Okay, what do we have here? We are driving on the right, it seems. We have the rifts. With this architecture, with the terracotta roofs and those dry mountains, I'm thinking more Montenegro. And there's no double blue too, or red, so I'm gonna guess that. This looks more like Croatia to me, so maybe about around here, although it could be anywhere, just because of the type of mountains we see. That might be a misleading clue though. Okay, it was closer to Albania and actually just outside the capital, but fortunately enough, my opponent didn't know the Rift meta. There's some yellow plates here, and there's these taxis that you see in Colombia with the side plates. So this has to be Colombia. It's pretty flat. Well, it says Cali there, so that is the best clue. It's not actually the north that I was thinking just because of the flatness, but this valley is also quite sizable. There's actually some mountains there. Hopefully Burishon doesn't know about Kali. And it even wasn't Kali, and he didn't guess again. But that's still not enough to win. It was more north, like I predicted at the start. And now we are in Europe. Is this Gen 2? Yeah, it does look like it. And there's some mountains there. I was thinking Germany, but with mountains, I'm thinking this should be that small town with coverage here. Oberstaufen or something. Yeah, this one. It's like a ski resort that got coverage, a random one. And I'm gonna guess somewhere over here. This might be completely wrong. It might be a different country. Might be something like Greece even, but I don't think with this architecture it can't be Greece. It has to be either in Germany or in the former Austro-Hungarian Empire, and it was in Austria actually. I don't know how there's Gen 2 in Austria, but that's an interesting find. And my opponent didn't guess, so it was enough again. Hoping for a better opponent, and as I already played 3 times, I'm not gonna record any other game which seems easy, so I'm gonna wait for a better opponent to appear. Who are we against now? The fact that we have to wait for the opponent doesn't seem good. It's Purify. Interesting profile pick there. Hopefully they are good. This looks like the Pharaohs, and with this card this is confirmed. Just by looking at these limestone mountains, it's pretty clear that's Pharaohs. But seeing snow, it's pretty rare in these islands, so that's also quite interesting to see. Where should I go? That's a good question, but I don't think it's gonna be that important. There's an estuary to the east, I'm gonna guess there. And he guessed in Iceland. It was just 2 estuaries down the road, so I'm pretty happy with that guess. Hopefully my opponent lasts for longer than some others. Here we have mountains to the south. This is definitely Japan with that sign on the left side of the road and the architecture. It's also pretty low cam, I think, even though it's Gen 4. So with mountains to the south, we might be here, I don't know, it looks like Tokyo area. Well, it wasn't, it was on the west coast near Toyama, and I lost 341 points, so this might be an interesting game. And now, this is gonna get even more interesting because unless the f5 works, which it doesn't, this is gonna be a black screen. I'm gonna guess Kenya because that's where most of the broken ones are, but it was Vietnam, which also has broken locations, and I actually won 775 points. I don't know how. No, I lost them. Apologies for that. I did lose them because my opponent guessed in Taiwan. This looks like Europe. With these long grooves, I'm thinking Denmark first of all. We have also these curvy signs which you see in Denmark, so I think I'm gonna go. This is like some industrial area and some business area too, so I'm gonna guess somewhere in the outskirts of Copenhagen. Hopefully he does get the country because I don't want this to finish before the healing round at least. And he didn't, and it wasn't in Copenhagen, it was in Sonderborg, which is closer to Germany. But now we are in the healing round, so if he gets this, which doesn't seem that difficult. Although now that I think about this, it might not be easy unless he moves. This looks like San Marino, to be fair, because that looks a bit like Mountain Titano. It's also Gen 2, and we have Italian thick, white, solid sidelines. So I'm gonna go for it. It could be still Italy, but with that mountain I'm pretty confident. And actually there's no compass, I haven't discovered that before. So any guesses that I made based on the compass didn't work. I got closer and I actually got the country, but he still managed to recover some of his points. So this is gonna be interesting. We have these poles which seem to be Thai, first of all, but something feels off. This seems to be like a Buddhist temple, yeah. Is this Thailand or is this Cambodia? That palm tree makes me doubt a bit more. There seems to be some car here. So I'm actually gonna go Cambodia, even though it might not be that straightforward and it might be overthinking this location. I don't know about Cambodian polls though. And it wasn't Cambodia, it was in Laos. And my opponent also guessed in Cambodia. Interesting. There was no yellow plates there or any other clues like the car. I lost some points and now I'm behind just because that was double damage. This is quad damage. And this looks like an Argentinian plane with the yellow lines. The sun seems to be to the north. There is a compass now. And with the water, I don't think this is this south. It probably is around the Paraná River. So that's where I'm gonna go. Maybe something like this is good enough. It was a bit more north. It was close to Parque Nacional Iberá. But my opponent guessed in Uruguay, which is further away, but it was still not enough to win in that round. I'm now in the lead by 2,000 points. Hopefully this round is gonna be enough to win with these cobblestones. Actually, it's not cobblestones, it's just normal stones. And the red roofs, I'm thinking Poland. There's also a lot of pines. So maybe this is the north of Poland. It looks a bit Baltic. That yellow plate is confusing me, but I don't think it's relevant. But these red roofs are very Polish. And I'm not in a good position now because my opponent guessed in the west. And it actually was. If I lose this round, I'm probably out of it. And this doesn't look great. This is a broken location. We have this again. So I don't know what to guess. Should I guess Kenya? This is what it's gonna come down to. I'm gonna guess Kenya. And it was in Argentina and he guessed Mexico. So I'm alive, but I only have 34 points. So either I win this or I'm in trouble. We have the rifts again. We have the terracotta roofs too, so this is probably in Montenegro. It seems pretty similar to that other round, just the difference is that there's more vegetation here, so I'm thinking closer to Albania, but I also think it's close to the capital. It looks quite urban. So hopefully he doesn't know the rift meta. 32 times damage, this is gonna be definitive, I guess. If I lose, even if it's like by half a mile, I'm still gonna be out because of this point tally. But I won. He guessed in Romania, he didn't know about this, and that was enough to win by the smallest margin I've seen ever in this game mode, by 34 points. And I almost lost when I guessed Kenya in that broken location, but I think this is the best way to end the video. So thank you all for watching, subscribe, like, and see you next time. Bye.